Well, welcome to episode 3 of GAC TV with me, DJG. Before this week's news roundup, just a few announcements and reminders. This coming Saturday is the Midland Counties Cross Country Championships being held in Loughborough. The club is taking several teams to this event and a coach has been laid on for athletes or spectators who wish to travel up and back on the day. Cost is very reasonable at £5 per person. The coach will leave Nuffield Gym, that's Barnwood Bowling Alley car park, at 7:30 AM and we should all be back by 7 PM for tea and biscuits. Look for the post on Facebook for more details and let Aaron Bennett know if you are interested. Also, a quick shout out for Gloucester Sports, who are doing their bit this month to help the homeless by collecting old trainers. So, if like me, you have lots of old trainers you're disappearing under a pile of at home, why not take them down to Gloucester Sports and put them to some good use? While you're there, you could actually buy some more shoes. So, on to this week's race reports, and for the first time on GAC TV, we can report on events other than cross country. First up, this week, the Welsh Masters Open Indoor Meeting held in Cardiff at the National Indoor Athletics Centre. 800 metre runner Tina Wickens went along to try her hand, or maybe her feet, on the boards for the first time. Well, for a first outing on the boards, Tina ran a brilliant time of 2 minutes 34.69 seconds for the 800 metres, third senior lady in the South West Champs. She then tried her hand at 400 metres, clocking 1 minute 6.32 seconds. Again, great time considering the 800 metres earlier in the afternoon. Meanwhile, Masters jump specialist Joe Willoughby took on the one-lap race, 200 metres, clocking a time of 30.12 seconds from a very tight inside lane. The fixture also featured some junior and senior indoor competitors, with one of Joe's group, triple jump supremo Joel Townley, trying his hand at the indoor 60 metres, clocking a great time of 7.38 seconds. After that, he moved back to something more akin to his favourite event, Joel jumping 6.58 metres in the long jump, one of the longest jumps of the competition.
P4 on their way. Good start, looks like the Team Bath athlete, Luca Williams.
On the Welsh borders, Owen Parry and Steve Robbins took part in the Speedway 10K. Held in the shadow at the Severn Bridge, this flat, self-styled no-fluff race for racers is designed for fast boys and girls who want to run fast times against fast-paced competition. So, fair to say, the duo had their work cut out. Steve had struggled in the lead up to this race, as like many of us, he had been struck down by man flu over the new year, so had lost some training days. Owen had perhaps the better preparation and was more match fit, due to several run-outs over the cross-country in the last few months, although he may argue the cross-country's actually worn him out. Well, it seems the Severn Bridge sheltered the Speedway course from the worst of the ice and the cold, helped by a later midday start, as Owen reported that conditions underfoot were fine. However, unfortunately, ongoing injury niggles did mean that Steve, sensibly, did not toe the start line. It did allow him, however, to take a few snaps of Owen flying round the course to a shiny new PB, in fact a PB by over a minute, although we're still waiting for the official results to be posted. Meanwhile, on a bright cold Sunday morning on the wrong side of the M5, the Linda Franks 5-mile race was held. This popular event, hosted by Almost Athletes Running Club, is part of the Gloucestershire 3A's Road Race Series. 11 club members managed to bag a race number in an event that normally sells out of race places in minutes. First up, thanks for Chris and Anna for providing some pictures, plus Jeremy and others who posted some race reports. Looks like all the club members smashed it this morning on some icy roads in temperatures that at 9 AM were barely above freezing. Gloucester AC's current road running supremo, Steve Kenyon, was back on form after a short holiday in the snow, finishing second place overall. This is despite, I am told, taking a slight detour, not certain if it was to pick up the Sunday papers or he was sent the wrong way. After getting up a bit late, and not fully pre-race fuelled, Jeremy Mower still set off with great intent, and pushed all the way by local rivals from Bourton Roadrunners, he managed 6th overall, first male vet 50 and a personal best time of 28 minutes 23 seconds. Max Shepherd also had a cracking run, although he was somewhat handicapped by wearing old school shoes, i.e. not those ones purchased from Next, and he was only 7 seconds behind Jeremy Mower, in 8th place overall. Jason Tilley, who has been on form of late, was in a strong position up until 3.5 miles, where unfortunately he pulled a muscle, but he finished, had to throttle back a bit, probably the best course of action. Never really good to push through an injury, it'll always make it worse, best to save a fight for another day. Mike Mansfield was 15th overall, but only 7th at 40, just showing how tough that age category is, particularly as he clocked well under 30 minutes. Steve Haynes, who has also been impressive on the cross-country lately, had a solid run, clocking just over 30 minutes. Chris Davis was pleased with his time of 36 minutes 34 seconds, placing him 89th overall, another man who's been struggling with a lurgy over the last week. And Dave Spackman, the ever-dependable vet, clocked up some more points in the Gloucestershire 3A series. This meant the Gloucester AC men won first place in the team competition. Great for Gloucester to steal a win in Cheltenham's backyard. Some cracking runs from the ladies as well, and most notably Tracy Hicksman, running a new PB to finish second lady. Not far behind her, and finishing fourth lady, but first in the Lady Vet 35 category, was Anna Midgley, who was well pleased, and even more happy when she picked up her race winnings of £20, enabling her to purchase a Grumpy Cat book. This fine performance was despite having to stop to do a shoelace up, only to realise a few months later the other shoelace was also undone. She didn't stop for the second one. First race of the year for Helen Haynes, back to racing on the roads. Helen used to be one of Gloucester AC's best 20-mile and marathon runners. Not as fast as last year, but mainly due to reduced training, life getting in the way. Helen was well pleased for the race, except being a little bit miffed the clock just ticked over to 45 minutes as she sprinted for the line. More road running, but this time closer to home at the Gloucester 50k Ultra, full marathon and half marathon, with a HQ and start finish in Quedgeley, but based predominantly on the country lanes to Haresfield. The half marathon option was tackled by Amy Walker. The race organiser, Norman Wilson, had asked me to provide some music and PA at the start, so I took the opportunity to catch up with Amy and find out how she was feeling.
Today.
Tell us what you're expecting, Amy. Come on, tell us.
Oh my God.
Tell us what you're expecting. What's going to happen today?
A training run today.
A training run, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Maybe slipping over
Right.
on the ice.
Amy's out for a training run. Apparently, she's not going to slip over on the ice. Actually, it's not too bad out there now. I think the
No, it's not
sun
that
has
bad.
warmed
Only
it
on
up.
the pavement,
Not as
so
cold as
yeah.
it was here at 7:30 this morning.
No.
That was a bit chilly. Right.
A good training run.
Good training run. Right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the end. We'll see what happens. Have a good one.
We will count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Once all the runs were off, and I handed over PA equipment duties to someone else for the finish, I popped into Race HQ and met up with Chris O'Carroll, who was there promoting his book on the history of Gloucester AC ultra running. Several club members back in the day used to be leading lights in the ultra running community, with our very own Dave Dowdle still holding the British 24-hour track record to this date. Worth a read, available from Chris and also at Gloucester Sports. Well, it looked like Amy was leading the pack, and it didn't take her long to finish in a time of 1 hour 36 minutes, her fastest time in 5 years. So turned into more than just a training run, although she admitted the last 3 miles were tough, as perhaps been neglecting the longer training runs recently, and the pavements in Quedgeley never really de-iced all day. And finally, Sophie Hope, who seems to specialise in the hills and the mud, took part in a Doynton hard half marathon. Having placed in the top 5 on previous attempts, Sophie was a little less optimistic this year as she felt her fitness was not as it had been. However, she likes the mud, and it seems if you don't get enough mud from running the course, they share some extra with you. So off she went to give it another go. Well, no photos I'm afraid. As for Sophie to take her camera on course, I am told it would risk irreparable damage. Anyway, a clear cold morning did lead to some stunning views, as Sophie took the course steadily whilst helping pace round a friend, enjoying the course and the atmosphere. Although she also said the course was horrendous, despite water stations serving Damson vodka. That said, although not official, she thinks she was around 12th lady, out of around 250. That's still a good day's work in my book. Post-race refuelling seemed to consist of a pint and rugby on the telly. And so that's it for episode 3 of GAC TV. Next week we'll feature the Midland Counties cross country from Loughborough, so it's back to shots of muddy legs again. I'm certain there are plenty of other events going on next week as well, so as ever, you just need to let me know, take a photo or a video clip, and we'll broadcast it on GAC TV episode number 4. And until then, keep training!